Hi folks, it's me, Harrison Garrett. I just want to talk about some of the problems we have on the internet and on the planet. Like I mentioned in my president videos back when, there's a problem with rapers and stuff. Like, people get locked up in prisons and jail cells just to go get raped again behind bars. That is a major problem. That's wasting USA tax dollars. That's wasting tax money when they lock up rapers behind bars just to go rape people behind bars. It's just like, that's wasting USA tax dollars. Let's see, another issue. Abortions. Should we have abortions in America? No. The Father, or Allah, or God, whatever you want to call him, it says in the books that he knew you faithfully and wonderfully made in your mother's womb. So that being said, do you think it's okay to take a being from a mother via an abortion and kill off that little being, getting ready to spit out of the womb and become a human being living amongst us? I don't think it's too cool. The mother should have thought about it a little bit more in detail if she wanted to have an abortion all of a sudden. Well, then why'd she get pregnant? Now, if the girl's raped into a marriage, or she gets raped and gets forced to have a baby that she didn't really want because it wasn't the right way to go, well, that's another story. I can see where you could have an abortion there because you don't want to raise a kid that you didn't really want to have. You're raped into it. That makes sense. But other than that, abortions is not something you should go praying about. Like, pray to the higher power, God. I believe it's God, but pray to the higher power. I believe it's God. But having an abortion because you don't want the baby that's getting ready to come out of the womb, it's in its fetus state when it's still in the womb, but it still knows the higher power in the womb faithfully. It says that in the books. So, if he faithfully and wonderfully makes you in the womb, then why are they trying to kill off the fetus that is getting ready to come out of the womb and become a baby? We hold it and all that. And then another problem, the provision and finances on the planet. Why don't they take the Bush and Obama bailouts and combine the two, then distribute that money on the USA taxpayers? It's about $12,000 a piece. You'll get to them all really quick. Just think smart real quick with the money. Take the USA taxpayer dollars, give them all $12,000 a piece. That's the same equivalent of Obama and Bush's bailouts, combining those two really quick. That's common sense stuff, guys. Why don't they just issue a disability card for everybody and put $15,000 on all the cards? That's enough for people to get jump started back into society again, and people spending money, getting the circulation of the money going. That's common sense, folks. This is another bailout we could do really quick. And that's, Trump's alley. Trump is a great man. I'm glad Trump's our president. The reason why is because, see, I'm one of those on disability. I'm on disability for schizophrenia-related stuff. And Trump made sure, with all these stimulus checks getting passed out, that the disability people were not overlooked. he made sure but Trump made sure that the disability people were not overlooked. He gave them all a bit of a stimulus check, too. I'm not going to share with you how much I got on the stimulus check on Wednesday coming up. But Trump's the man for the job. He's a Republican. Now, some more problems, though. Let's think of them. Why don't they have all the fans in helicopters and in air purifiers be fans that are wind energy stimulated? They could take the fan in a air purifier or a helicopter and make it where it creates wind energy for the machinery that's running. They could do something like that. And that's the kind of stuff I was saying and doing in 2012 when they went me on schizomeds. So there's another problem. That leads me to another problem. Medical facilities. They think if you're hearing things at all in your mind, that you're schizophrenic. Well, that's all the Christians and Islamic and Buddhists. They all hear things in their minds. They have to decide if it's from Mara or Buddha. Or Christians have to decide if it's from Jesus or Satan. Islamic people have to decide if it's from Jesus or Satan that you're hearing something from. But it doesn't mean they're schizophrenic because they're hearing something in their mind. It means they're harassed by the devil every day and need him to be canceled off their lives. In Jesus' name. It says in Luke chapter 10:19, all the serpents can be trampled on in Jesus' name, and they have to obey it because Jesus beat them all. Some more problems. Well, some more issues going on the planet. Freedom of religion. When you're dealing with law at all, that has to do with legalism. So you can look at a really critical debate on that, and you don't want to be technical too much. It's lying your ass off if you're too technical. But what you can look at, though, is, freedom of religion. Islam, they preach grace of a higher source. Now, does that grace give you the choice to go do whatever you feel like doing? No. You're supposed to live a good, orderly life. But a lot of people argue against that, though. They argue against that topic. And they think you can just do whatever you want because you have grace of a higher source now. Well, when you have law anywhere, it gets back to legalism that Satan does. Because, see, the law gets people convinced that you gotta have people obeying all these commandments and all these laws. Well, Jesus fulfilled the law. And we have grace of a higher source now. So why do police officers go around enforcing some law when that gets back to legalism? Legalism from Satan, grace of a higher source is what Jesus preaches. Buddha also preached grace. He said it's going to be possible with grace, not with a bunch of legalistic horse crap from Mara or Satan or whatever you want to call him. But a lot of people don't think Satan is like that. They think he's like a buddy and a best friend, and they pray to him. But they think Yahweh is the bad guy, and that Satan's the good guy. A lot of people preach that. A lot of people that are Satanists think that way. I don't. I used to be dabbling in Satanism for a while, but I repented. I believe in Jesus now. And I believed in Jesus pretty much all along, but I was definitely dabbling in other religions at times, and I shouldn't have. So, this gets back to the point, is okay, so this gets back to the main point. But, should we just take off freedom of religion altogether? Do we take off freedom of religion altogether? And not allow them any of the grace that their higher power preaches? That says grace may abound when you go on sinning? Or should you allow freedom of religion and let the people practice the grace from a higher source and then minimize some of the cop talk we have in the USA and just get rid of some of the police officing world? That's something that you can think about. That'll pump money into the government's economy, not having so many police officers to pay for. And just letting people experience grace and freedom. That's why I like Sheriff BJ in town. He knows about grace from a higher source, and he also knows about, should we get rid of freedom of religion altogether? I used to support that, but then I realized, well, I was a 23-year-old trying to be president of the USA for a while, and that didn't work out too hot. Got put on schizo meds, and I needed that. I'm glad I got on those schizo meds, because it straightened some things out in my brain. But now, I realized grace from the Bible and Quran, grace from a higher source, and don't be a legalist, just say grace to them. That answered many people's questions right there out of the gate with my president stuff. My first words to them was grace to you. And so I thought I could just go do whatever I wanted to because I had grace from a higher source. And I was a dangerous threat to many people when I was thinking that way. And so I'm in Antlers, Oklahoma now, the deer capital of the world. I am staying here. And I kind of found a girl in town too. I'm thinking about asking out. But I'm planning on staying in this town. I love this town. I love the people here. They're all nice. It's all about Jesus in this town. I mean, if you believe in Jesus at all, then you'll want to come to Deer Capital Antlers, Oklahoma, because that's all they preach. Now, there's a problem with the Quran, though. You see, the Quran talks about a resurrected Jesus. It says that on page 238, chapter The Women, 157b, in Maulana Ali Quran. Now, what I noticed, though, is a lot of the Islamic ministers don't tell their people that the book actually preaches Jesus was crucified and rose again. It says that on page 238, chapter The Women, 157b, in the Maulana Ali Quran. Now, but the problem with the Quran and their teaching, where's the ransom payment for the sins? The substitution. Because, see, sin isn't imputed without the law. Jesus became the law made flesh, so sin can be imputed to him at the cross, and he can bury all sin in the pit of hell. Then he rises again on the third day and shows himself to 500 witnesses, as the book of Thomas says, the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, those do. The Quran, I don't think mentions anything about that part. I think, well, it might. Just go read in the index. But I thought Jesus told me. He said, The Islamic people and the Buddhists are lost sons and daughters of God, for they are peacekeepers, and they're peacekeepers and peaceful, loving people. And they're just lost sons and daughters of God, because all sons and daughters of God are the peacekeepers. So that reminded me, I was keeping the peace when I finally just took my Earth President stuff off the internet and stopped chasing all that. I was just going to keep the peace with people and back off. They didn't want me in their lives. Fine. That is okay. But these are some views that I had, and I wanted them voiced. I've seen these common sense thinking problems ever since 2011. I got put on the meds in 2013, and that's when I started straightening things out in my brain. Let's see, jet skis. Okay, one thing I talked about in the past is kind of fucked up, but it's interesting, I guess. Jet skis. What if the jet ski had the fan inside of it, and that's creating all the wind energy that recycles back into the jet ski? Okay, and then you have a solar shield window wrapping all around the jet ski, so it protects you from outer space's compression levels. And so then they zoom off on the water and eventually kick off into the air with the fan on it. It's rewiring a jet ski so the fan will operate that way for wind energy. And then you can drive it maybe to another planet somehow. That's just a common sense observation of mine that I thought I'd go ahead and mention to some people on the internet via this video. A lot of people think I'm a nutcase. That's fine. It's okay if they think I'm crazy. I don't care. You can't spend your whole life afraid of what other people think about you. But you can't spend your whole life afraid of what other people might think about you. You gotta just step out in faith and take things as they come. Stay trusting in the higher power and live your life. Be bold. Tell people stuff that makes sense. These are some points that I'm making that make sense to a lot of people. Same stuff I've been saying since 2011 when I did my president stunts. But be careful when you say stuff like I just told you, because they might put you on schizophrenia meds. If you start voicing your opinion out there publicly, boldly like that, they could put you on schizo meds for hearing stuff maybe, or for delusional reality, thinking you're a president when you're really not. Or in my case, I was Brock's proxy ANC of 04. Man, I almost took Cousin Harrison, and I lost my proxy slip back in 05 to my mother, who accidentally pitched it. So I had no proof that I was his proxy anymore. And I couldn't show that to any officers anymore because I didn't have it with me anymore. If you see Brock in the next day or two, in the next couple of years, just phone him really quick and tell him, yeah, that's what happened to him. Aaron C., that is. Matt almost got Harrison. He's Aaron C., Brock's proxy of 04. It's the president's proxy. He's the one who told me spiritually one day back in 04 to head out to the deer capital in Oklahoma. So I said, okay, I'll see about brainwashing some people to move to the deer capital. And so I tried that, and it kind of worked, I guess. I don't know. That's where I'm standing there. Is I don't really know if it worked or not. They think it's God that brought them here, and I'm like, well, I like it in this town a lot. This town is about Jesus, though, and I love that part. Antlers, Oklahoma, the deer capital of the world, 74523 zip code. They're all about Jesus Christ in this town. They preach Jesus everywhere. Signs everywhere showing Jesus this and that. And so I just showed you some of the problems. Now, back on another topic that I was just talking about, though. Do we lessen the amount of police officers we have? And just let people have more grace and freedom? Just to do what they want? It's kind of like marijuana. There's an example right there. You know, a lot of people, I'll smoke it. I smoke it. I got a marijuana card that lets me smoke it in Oklahoma. But see, why didn't they legalize that drug sooner? Marijuana gets rid of anxiety and depression that causes hallucinations in a schizophrenic's mind. That's been proven. It's proven with me. Marijuana got rid of all my anxiety and helped me with my depression in some areas. So did Abilify and Seroquel. And then the hallucinations started fading away, and I could tell what was a spiritual observation and what was just me hallucinating. And I thank my best friend Maddie Secord for pointing out to me in 2011 at the table that I had schizophrenia. And she said she wasn't using portals to stalk me, I was a schizophrenic. So, that being said, I checked myself into Carl Roberts Medical in 2013 over in McAlester, Oklahoma. And I got on schizophrenia medications for a while. And then I got a problem resolved in my chart because I talked my doctor into it. I tricked her in a way into it, but oh well, she said it. But see, that never happens with schizophrenics. That's a loophole in the system right there, folks. Schizophrenics don't recover from that illness, generally speaking. So if she says problem resolved on a schizophrenic chart, it's almost like she's saying you never had it. So I checked myself back into Carl Roberts Medical in 2017 and in 2018 for inpatient time. I'm on outpatient now, and I don't mind it. I like the people there. They're nice people. They believe in Jesus, most of them do. A couple of them are atheists. They were nice guys, though. But, that's just more stuff to look at. Okay, something spiritual, I think, just jacked with my mind and tried to pull a memory out of my brain or something. Yeah, you can learn about it from deliverance ministers that preach about casting demons out and stuff like that. Some Islamic people believe in casting demons out in Jesus' name, and some of them don't. Now, Bin Laden, for example, there's another problem we have. Clintons and the Bushes gave Osama bin Laden's family getaway planes. Didn't he in the 90s say that? Or do that? Didn't he give Osama's family a getaway plane or something like that? And then Bush Jr. gave Osama's family a getaway plane at the 9/11 time. And then Chris Rock said Osama was just a stunt double they threw to the public. And I'm thinking, well, interesting. But the press doesn't really talk about stuff like that. The press also tries to say that Bin Laden was a Shiite Islamic person. No, he wasn't. He was Wahhab. That's what he was. And he did not want to kill everybody. Like he was a stunt double prop acting set thingy they put to the public on a whim to scare people. That's all they did. That's what it was. I'm a celebrity relative, folks. I know this kind of stuff as far as the inside scoop of shit that nobody talks about on TV. It helps having a cousin, Matt Hoffman, it's the biking lord on the planet. Because Jane clues us in about ruses and shit like that people run in the celebrity relative department of things. And we just know what to believe on the internet and on TV and what to blow off. And just because we're celebrities and we're relatives of celebrities or whatever, That doesn't mean we're better than everybody else. I don't like that analogy of things. I'm not better than everybody else. I love everybody. There's not a soul or a being out there I don't love and adore. I believe all things but everybody out of 1 Corinthians 13. Now, there's another problem. Are these ministers in the pulpits educated enough to be ministers or not? Are these ministers in the pulpits educated enough to be ministers or not? Well, I've heard ministers tell me that God wasn't light and wasn't love and things like that. And I showed them in the Quran and in the Bible and in the Quran where it says God is light and heaven.